I was 85 the first time my own son called me expensive. Not to my face, of course. He said it to his wife in the kitchen through a door he thought I couldn't hear through over the hush of a daytime talk show. Dad's visits are getting expensive, Michael said, stretching the word like a rubber band. Laura let out the kind of laugh people use when they think they're just telling the truth. I sat at their dining table with my hands folded on a laminated placemat, the one printed with summertime lemons. Even though it was November and the trees in their subdivision, maples, planted by the builder in two perfect rows, were bare as broom handles. The television in the living room kept scolding somebody about forgiveness. Nobody in that house looked at me. I could have been a coat on the wrong hook. My name is George Thompson. I was born in a mill town you could fold up and fit in your pocket. The kind where welcome signs bragged about high school football and the water tower. Leaned a little when the wind hit it right. I married Margaret at the courthouse with a paper bouquet and a lunch special. We split because we didn't have the extra dollar for two. We raised one boy. We made a life for ourselves without asking anyone for much. It wasn't fancy. It was ours. These days, twice a week, I take the bus across town to visit the family, a phrase that used to mean something warm. I bring a paper sack of what my backyard grows slow and stubborn: late tomatoes, a crooked carrot, a bundle of rosemary, dirt at the roots like a passport stamp. I ring the doorbell and watch the camera blink at me like an eyelid. Laura opens the door with her smile. Set the way people set thermostats, efficient, not generous. "Hi, George," she says, the way the hygiene nurse says, "open." "Afternoon," I say. I step into the smell of lemon, cleaner, coffee, and whatever candle promises a better life on the label. "Grandpa." Ethan runs up and wraps himself around my leg, like he's been practicing. He's 12 and growing upward faster than the house can measure. He looks me straight in the eye, and I remember being taller than my own father for the first time. Both of us embarrassed by the physics of it. "Hey, champ," I say, because that is what fathers and grandfathers in America say when they don't know what else to do with how much they love someone. Laura's eyes land on the paper sack in my hand. "Oh," she says, as if I've brought her a small headache. "You don't have to do that, George. We use organic. And the store kind, it's just safer. It's rosemary and a little dignity," I almost say. Out loud I manage. "It's what grew." She lifts the sack between two fingers as if it's a damp shirt. "I'll see if any of this is usable." In the evening, when Michael gets home, I know he's on the porch before the doorknob turns. He's still in his sales tie, the knot pulled down like a loosened tooth. He glances at me the way a referee checks a scoreboard. "Hey, Dad," he says. He kisses Laura's hair, pats Ethan's shoulder with a knuckle, and sits down at the head of the table, as if the chair were the point of the room. He pulls out his phone, and the glow of it makes his face look like a stranger. We eat. Or rather, they eat, and I try not to make noise arranging peas with a fork. Conversation moves around me like a stream around a rock. When Laura asks, "Do you want more chicken?" Michael says, "Sure," and when I answer, "No thanks," Laura nods like she's checking a box in her head and forgets me again. If I say this is good, nobody hears anything but the television in the other room, still scolding. Halfway through the meal, Laura says, "Oh shoot, we're low on coffee filters." Her voice brightens in a way that makes me nervous. "Michael, your dad likes that brand of filters they have at the store. By the library, right?" "I can get some," I say, reaching for my wallet. "Because old habits don't retire, they just creak." Laura flutters a hand. "George, you don't have to. Social Security only goes so far. We'll manage." She says Social Security like it's a small, gray animal she's describing for a child. Michael chuckles without looking up. I put the wallet away, slow as I can, so my hands won't show they're shaking. Ethan watches me like he's standing on a riverbank and can see which way the current is going before anyone else. On the bus ride home, I count streetlights and pretend they're years. It's a trick I learned when Margaret had chemo. If you count long enough, you can get through anything. We did get through it. She got through it. Then she got through the rest of the world, too. And now it's just me in the small house we bought with a loan from a banker who's dead and a promise we kept. The mantel still holds the school pictures. Michael with hair like a crew cut. Just learning to salute, Ethan with a half smile. Trying not to show the gap where his tooth was, and a gold pen in a case with my name, engraved by a man who thought gifts should last. When I get home, I take off my coat and carry it to the chair Margaret used to claim by sitting in it. I hang the coat there and tell the room we manage. I heat a can of soup I could have made better for less money. I sit at the table with the soup and a letter I've been writing to myself for 40 years. The kind that has a different pen on every page. It's a notebook, really binder clips. Margins, dates that punch through like little windows. I read old entries like they might disagree with me. They rarely do. The next week, Laura needs milk and Ethan needs new gym shoes. And Michael needs me to understand how tight things are, Dad. At the grocery store, when I pull a 20 from a wallet older than the teenager running the register, Laura places her hand on my wrist, gentle and public. "George," she says, volume just loud enough to carry to the next. "Lane, put that away. We know your Social Security is limited. We'll handle it." People turn. People always turn. This is America. We are very democratic about staring. I put the bill back and tell the boy at the register to have a good day. He says, "You too, sir," in a voice that betrays his relief. In the parking lot, as Michael loads bags into the trunk, he says without looking at me, "We're not saying you can't help, Dad. Just be realistic." Realistic. That word, the way the young throw it at the old, as if time is a trick we're playing on them. I'm the one who built realism in this family like a foundation you never see and trust with your life. That night, Ethan shows me a drawing he's made for art class. A house with a chimney, smoke like ribbon candy. A dog because you're supposed to draw a dog, a tree too green for November. There's a figure in the yard, small, with a hat. "That's you," he says. "I didn't draw a cane because you don't use one." "Not yet," I say, and I'm surprised at how much. The joke sounds like a promise to myself. He grins like he's caught me at something. "Grandpa?" he asks, lowering his voice the way boys lower their voices when they want to carry a secret across a room. "Are you okay?" "Champ," I say. "I'm exactly as okay as I need to be." He nods once, like a man. 2 days later, after a morning rain that left the sidewalks looking newly invented, an acquaintance from Michael's office spots me at the corner store, counting change for a stamp. "Mr. Thompson?" he says, name tag shining like a small badge of effort. "I work with Michael. I just wanted to say you're a gentleman." He hesitates. Sometimes some people don't see what's in front of them. On the way home, I stop at the library and ask the reference desk, a question I have not asked out loud in a long time. "Do you have back issues of the business journal?" The librarian, the same woman who helped Margaret find cookbooks with fewer recipes than pictures, smiles, like I've handed her a secret. "Sure do," she says, and sets me up with a password like a handshake. That evening, I take the good pen out of its case. I sit at the table Margaret claimed, and I claim it too. I open the notebook to a clean page and write, in letters so careful they could be stenciled on a ship, "If your son believes you are an ATM, show him how an ATM works." It reads, verifies, decides, and, most important, it can refuse. The pen feels heavy in my hand. Good weight, honest. I keep writing until the page fills, and the lines don't quite hold what I'm trying to say. When I stop, the house is quiet, enough to admit the old clock's opinion about time. I close the notebook and rest my hand on it, the way a man rests his hand on a steering wheel when he knows the route. The next morning, I put on my suit, not the church one, the other one from the days when people stood when I entered a room, and not just because their chair squeaked. The shoulders still know me. The tie remembers the knot. In the mirror over the sink, I look like a photograph of myself. Someone has kept too close to a lamp, faded at the edges, but the eyes still bright enough to argue. I slip Ethan's latest drawing into my inside pocket, because a man should take a compass when he can. Then I open the top drawer of the desk and lift out a folder. I haven't lifted out in years. The paper is the kind that makes a sound when you touch it. Deeds, certificates, letters with letterheads that still mean something. Names that used to be mine and in a way still are. On my way out, I lock the door behind me and test the knob. The bus stop is 3 blocks. The air smells like rain giving up. When I sit down on the bench, I don't feel old. I feel, what's the word, operational. It's time my son learned the difference between money and power.
Por
And the first
educadores
lesson is
e
always the
pais de
same. You don't
alunos.
teach it with your
Por
voice. You teach it with what happens next. The following week, Laura didn't even bother to hide her irritation. I arrived with another sack of vegetables from the stubborn soil. In my yard, cabbage that